Hi, Steve Bedell, your EXP Realtor in the Villages, Florida. I'm coming to you today with my weekly newsletter. And a matter of fact, I already had another one all set to go out, but with the pretty drastic changes that are happening in the real estate world, caused me to put that one aside and maybe address some concerns that everybody has because it's front page news. It's all over the headlines and a lot of uh, unfacts or untruths, whatever you want to call them. So let me get rid of that and let's take a look at things because one of the ABC Nightly News, one of the headlines was no more real estate commissions. That's because of the big lawsuit that the National Association of Realtors (NAR) just settled with with other companies and with consumers. So let's take a look at how that's going to affect you in the market if you're looking to buy and sell a house. So let's see. First, some untruths raised by the press. They are always talking about how 6% and everybody sets the commission structure at 6% for sellers, and it's just not true. Matter of fact, most of commissions are in the 5% range. I've done 5% commissions, I've done 6% commissions, I've done 4% commissions. So they are now and always have been negotiable. But if you listen to the headlines, it looks like realtors are running some price fixing and making sure that everything is set at 6%. And here's how it works currently. Okay? So the seller pays 5%. Let's just assume the 5% for now, 5% commission to the brokerage. The agent is there, but he's basically hiring the brokerage to sell a house. Now, if the seller's agent gets the buyer's agent also, the seller brokerage gets 5%. Or sometimes it'll say the commission is 5%, but if we happen to get both the buyer and the seller without another agent involved, maybe it'd be 4%. Okay? Now, if the buyer agent secures a buyer, then the buyer agent brokerage receives 50%. So think of that as a finder fee. So is the seller paying for that? Technically, no, and that's how it's been for some time now, and it's been working fine. So, but the reason this all came about is because some sellers brought a lawsuit and they said, "Hey, why am I paying for the agent on the other side of this for the buyer? I've got nothing to do with them." And that's true; you have nothing to do with them. But if you look at it from the seller's agent and brokerage house, we go out there, we go find a buyer, but 95% of the times we're not going to get that buyer because there's going to be a buyer agent out there that has someone looking for our house. They're going to call us up and say, "Hey, I got a buyer," and we're going to pay that out of our commission. The seller isn't paying it. Okay? So the seller brokerage just pays the fee from their commission. That's how it works. Now, I guess I'm a little ahead of myself because many sellers are asking, why are we paying the buyer commission? And like I just explained, they are not. Now, here's what's going to happen. I keep moving myself around here because I block different spots. Here's what's happening coming mid-July. Again, if there's no snags, but it doesn't appear that there will be because this is, I forget what the technical legal name is, but it basically both sides have agreed that this on certain things. A judge has to still approve it, and the actual changes should come about in mid-July. So until mid-July, I think there's not going to be any differences really. But here's a couple of things. The buyers must have a written agreement with their buyer broker concerning the fees. Has to be in writing. There's no more. In a way, it's good for agents because we sometimes will run around with a buyer and have really no structured agreement or contract, and we'll show them 20, 25 houses over a number of weeks maybe, and then they'll just go buy one from a listing broker or some other thing. So buyer's brokers agent gets zero. This time, the buyers will have a written agreement with their agent concerning the fees. The MLS will no longer post any commission fees on their website. The way it currently works now, if you go to the MLS and you see a property you like and you're an agent and you go down to the bottom, you'll see that you'll see the total commission and you'll see how much the seller's agent will get and how much the buyer's agent is going to get. Now, that's typically 50-50. If it's a 5% commission, then the selling agent is going to get 50% and the buying agent is going to get 50%. But you can't do that anymore because, again, they're looking at that as kind of price fixing, showing somebody ahead. Meaning that, all right, if you're a buyer broker, you see someone listed a house and you saw maybe they listed 6% commission and they were paying you 3%, and another house was listed at 4% commission, they were paying you 2%, that would steer the buyer broker towards the house where he would make more money. I can tell you, I don't know how I do it, but and most of the agents that I know do it. We don't really even look at that number. It just doesn't come into play because we're trying to find the best house that there is for our buyer. So that's how it works. But again, they're not going to list any. So what are we going to do? Well, this lower home prices, I love this. They're saying that at least they're saying this could possibly lower home prices. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to. That I can be pretty sure of because they will sell at market value. If the market value on a house is $400,000, do you think the seller is going to say, hey, I got to pay less in real estate fees. Let's make it $395,000. Do you honestly think that's going to happen? It's not. So will sellers stop paying commission for buyers? Well, here's where it gets a little tricky because we could say to our sellers, if we typically charge, let's use a 6%, it's easy math. If we charge a 6% listing fee to list their house, are we going to say to the seller, hey, guess what? Now, with all this, we don't have to pay the buyer's broker anymore. So now, instead of selling a house for 6%, I'm going to sell it for 3%. Is that going to happen? No. Because could they? Could we? Sure. But you think you're ever going to get a buyer's agent if it's zero? Do agents? The general public has no idea the amount of hours and the amount of paperwork and the amount of time that realtors take. Most of the time, if they don't have a job, they're spending the time looking for a job. So anyway, if you break down the cost per hour on many realtors, you're probably better off being a greeter at Walmart. But anyway, yes and no. If sellers want a buyer agent to go sell their home, they're going to have to compensate that agent in some form. Now, there's the other side. There's this other thing that says, well, why wouldn't the buyer's agent just pay 3% and the seller's agent just pay 3%? Well, do you think that's going to happen? In the first place, most buyers, many of them, let's look at first-time home buyers. First-time home buyer, they've been scraping up the money to buy this house, and then they find out they got to add another 3%. If you've got a $500,000 house, it's what, $15,000? You think that's going to happen? I don't. And this doesn't even address what's going to happen to VA mortgages and FHA mortgages where they're counting on the seller for some concessions. So if the sellers want people to buy their home, then they're going to make sure that the buyer's agent is compensated, same as it is before. But they're not going to be able to call it commissions, I think. They need to be compensated in some form. Like we will credit the buyer $15,000 in closing costs. or they can credit the buyer. They can call it a rate buy down. They can pay down their loan, maybe apply $15,000 to that. It's going to be different. Things are still being worked out now, but that's how it's going to work. And the buyer agents will still get paid. Here's just a sample wording that I got from somebody else who's smarter than me in real estate. Sample wording: seller to credit the buyer X amount of dollars at close of escrow to satisfy buyer's contractual agreement with the buyer's broker. Boom. That's simple. And as I said before, it could be some type of buy down, down payment assistance. It could be anything. Okay? All right, here we go. So what should you do now? Let me move myself again. Well, you got to use an agent who understands what is happening. I'm not saying me, but I have spent hours when this happened Friday. It was like a seismic shock. Now we all kind of knew this was happening, but we thought the NAR was going to appeal the verdict. So in that case, you know how long court cases take. We figured it's going to be at least another year or two before anything happens. Well, that's not the case because boom, they just went and settled the suit, and it's a done deal, and it's coming with no unforeseen snags. So you want to use an agent who understands what is happening in all this. If you're a buyer, you're going to use a written agreement. I won't take any buyers anymore without a written agreement. And don't believe all the news that you see or hear. A lot of it, they just try to sensationalize. The stuff about everybody uses 6%, not true. The stuff about is this going to possibly lower home prices? I don't see that happening in 1 minute. Lots of other things. Okay. I'll move me again. Hey, I'll put me right there on top front. Let's see, right next to the word important. It'll make me feel important, maybe. Yeah. Okay, important. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial professional. I am a realtor. I'm just trying to give you some guidelines and help people out, help understand the changes that are coming ahead in the real estate transaction. So what I've just presented to you here, that's probably my best understanding of the changes. Now, maybe I made a couple of errors. I don't think so, but hey, I ain't perfect. And there's a lot of changes going on, and they may change some between now and then anyway. But I believe the preceding statements are true, to the best of my ability. And I'm not responsible for any errors. How's that? No responsibility. I ain't taking it. And like Dear Abby always said, hey, seek professional help. I used to love that. When I was a kid, I'd read Dear Abby once in a while. Seek professional help. Seek professional help. Hilarious. Okay, that's about it. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, put them below the video. And I'll do the best that I can to answer them for you and give you my opinions. All righty. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.